what's up? It's Kevin. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to go ahead and money manage some of these trades. And what I'm going to attempt to do here is I'm going to attempt to move the entry price of these trades down. So for example, you see this Atom trade here. Okay, if I double click, it'll load on the chart. Again, if I double click Matic, it'll load on the chart. So if I look at this, I can see that it's down 19% at 2.5x leverage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some funds to this trade to change the entry price, okay? When I'm looking in Bybit, I can see my entry price right here. It's way up here, and I can see this is where the market is right now. I'm going to lower this entry price down by adding to this position. Now, this is something that is very nuanced. Okay, and I'm just going to say this right out the gate. This is something that is very nuanced, and our support staff, if you message support and you go, hey, should I, go ahead and lower this leverage or raise this, go ahead and change this trade and make changes to it, they're probably going to respond to you with leave it alone, right? That's probably going to be the default. But as thinking adults, the way we look at this, if we know how these different systems work and we can react to them, then we can make decisions on our own, educated decisions on what we want to do with our trades that are actually running, okay? Just want to toss that out there because a lot of times people's knee-jerk reaction is like, hey, this trade is negative. What can I do? I'm going to show you what you can do, but it's all subjective and it's all up to you on whether or not you do it, okay? And the entire next section is going to be based off of when do I do these things, okay? So we're going to get in that in the entire next section is going to be when do I money manage these trades? When do I go ahead and do this? When would be a good time to do that? All right? By objectively looking at some charts and some movements of patterns and things of that nature. Nothing crazy, but I'm going to show you that. I just want to preface this video by letting you know that this is entirely subjective and up to you. And the support staff in Carbon is not going to comment on whether or not you should enter into a trade to reduce leverage or do any of that stuff, right? We have frameworks inside of Carbon that you can run off of, right? And we use those frameworks to get in and out of trades and hopefully prevent liquidations and so on and so forth. But sometimes you might want to take matters into your own hands, and that's entirely up to you, and that's entirely your decision, okay? I just want to throw that out there, all right? We are adults. We're going to look at this stuff objectively, and we're going to go ahead and do it. It's my job to give you the tools in order to do that, okay? So with that being said, I just got to let you know because I know this is new to a lot of folks, and I know that the knee-jerk reaction is to go ask support whether or not we should do XYZ on a trade, and they're going to just tell you don't, right? They're not equipped in that fashion to advise on this stuff. And I can advise on it, but I don't do that anymore, right? I've stopped doing that as a functionality, right? As how I operate, okay? Except for maybe in my mastermind group, all right? Which if you want access to that, message support, they can let you know what's going on there. All right, having said that, okay? Having said that, here's what I just want to kind of briefly take a look at something, all right? This right here is yesterday. This is, or like the last video that I had up, these were what was going on in this particular account. We had Matic in here. We still have Matic in here, okay? It was negative 46%. It's negative 38 now. We had Atom in here at 5x leverage, negative 37%. It's negative 19 now. And this Luna was at 2.5x leverage and negative 26.90%. And it took profit. So you got to understand how fast these markets can indeed move. Sometimes when you're in a trade, it feels like, oh my goodness, this is taking forever, right? This particular long, I was in it for a while, okay? And then just overnight, it flew right up and got me right out of the trade in profit, okay? So these things can move very quickly, and they can also move excruciatingly slow. So I'm showing you this to say, look, you have to have patience. You have to have patience when you're trading, all right? So with all that being said, I know that was a mouthful, but with all that, and you all know I talk too much. With all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and do some things on this trade, particularly this Atom trade right here, where I'm going to repurchase back into this, okay? And I'm doing this at a wrong time. Please hear the words that come out of my mouth when I say this. I should not be touching this trade. I should not be doing anything with it. And the reason why is it's not that negative. It's at 2.5x leverage, negative 19%. I can leave it alone. My liquidation price, the price with which I lose money, is $16.18, and it's at 24 bucks. So it would have to drop, all right? If I go take a look at this, actually, let's bring that back. Boom. This would have to drop all the way down here for me to lose funds, and it can go to a different stage, all right? It can go to another stage. So I shouldn't be touching it, right? I should leave it alone. Because this right now, if I go on into Carbon and take a look at it, is actually at a stage 3, and there's a couple more stages that it can go to, right? This can go to a stage 4, which if I send this to a stage 4 is like 1.1x leverage or 1.5x leverage. So I'm going to do that. Okay, I'm going to change this to 1.5, and I'm going to hit confirm. Okay, and you'll see my liquidation price is now $9. $9 is my liquidation price. So it would have to come way down here for me to lose anything. So I'm not in any danger. Probably not a good time to be doing what I'm about to do. Okay, if I go to the next stage on this, it's 1.1x leverage. Right, and I hit confirm. All right, the liquidation price is $2.90. It is in zero danger of liquidating. And before I make any changes to this, okay, before we ever change any of this stuff, all right, I'm going to put it back at 2.5. Before we go ahead and make changes to the point where we're adding to position to move this entry price, before we do that, we want to have a lot of distance there. We don't want to willy-nilly be doing it, because the more distance it is from our entry price here, okay, to where the actual market price of the coin is the farther that is, the farther we're going to move it by adding to the position. Okay? This is the reality. So if this coin was way down here, all right, if this coin, the market price was here, and my entry price was here, okay, and I doubled up on this trade, I added double the funds or triple the funds, I started adding money into this trade, I repurchased in, it would move my entry price farther because there's a farther gap. So when they're close to each other, it makes no sense to do that because all you're doing is throwing money at it to move it a little bit. Okay? So the theory behind this and the way we operate it is that we wait until it's severely negative before we do it. Okay? It has to be severely negative. What's severely negative? Well, it's kind of subjective, but I'm looking at this to be at, let's say I'm at 2.5x leverage, isolated on a trade. And if you don't know what that is, see the vids above, right? 2.5x leverage isolated on a trade and negative like 50%. Okay? And then I would entertain the idea of doing that. Until then, I would let it be, actually. I would leave it alone. So I'm actually doing this at the wrong time. On top of that, when we enter and go ahead and re-enter into positions, we want to do so obviously, right? This is common sense, obviously at a time when it looks like it might come back up. Because if I go add funds to this trade, for example, it's going to lower my entry price. And if it's going to lower this entry price. If I double up, it's going to lower this entry price down, okay? And when it does, what I don't want is for this currency pair to now go down farther, because all I've done is added money into a trade. I've moved the entry price a little bit, but now if it goes against me, I've got more money in this trade and I have more risk on the table, okay? So hopefully that makes sense, all right? And if it doesn't, please watch this video again to kind of absorb that. Watch it like 17 times on what I just said, because it is very critical when you're doing this. Again, for me, what I'm looking for is I want this at least 50% negative at 2.5x leverage, okay? At least. I'll be patient and let it go to 1x leverage, right? I'll be as patient, very, very patient on these. Okay, I'll let it go severely negative. But minimum when I do this, when I'm trading, it needs to be negative 50 at 2.5x leverage. the minimum to do it. So I'm not telling you go do this at any point in time. I'm just giving you the framework and the guide of what I will particularly do. Okay? Minimum, I want this to be negative 50 at 2.5x leverage before I repurchase in. Okay? All right. Hopefully that makes sense. And yeah, all right. So the next thing, because this is what we're doing is adding to the position. So this is why I'm taking this. So this is why when I talk about this stuff, I can tend to get pretty damn serious because we're adding money, funds into a position. We're throwing money into a position to move this entry price. Okay. So we got to make sure that it's severely negative when we do it. 99% of the time when people are like, hey, Kevin, what should I go ahead and add money to this? I'm going to be like, no, leave it alone. Right? 99% of the time. So I just want to preface that. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys how we add money to this right now. All right. And it's very simple. And then in the subsequent, the next chapter in this training is going to be all about finding the right entry points, right? Finding the right entry points in order to do it. And in fact, this is getting long. So I'll tell you what, in the next video, another one, in the next video, we'll actually go ahead and add to this position because I have more to say on this. Again, I talk too much, everybody knows. So we're going to go ahead and do that, pick this up in the next video. I just want to let you know how serious this is when you do this because you're throwing a lot of funds into another trade. I'm going to add to this position. I'm going to double, at least double what is in this trade in order to do that. So let's pick this up in the next one. I think it'll be worth it. And then we'll go from there. Okay. See you guys in the next video.